Hello everyone, got a few dirty jokes for you today. So one night little Johnny was really scared sleeping by himself at camp, so he sprints out of his tent and runs to his teacher's tent and asks, "Miss, can I please sleep with you tonight?" His teacher replies, "No." Johnny moans and says, "But my mom lets me." "Okay then, just for tonight," the teacher replies. Johnny jumps into bed with her and asks, "Miss, can I please play with your belly button with my finger?" She again says, "No." "But my mommy lets me," says Johnny again. "Well, I suppose it's okay," replies the teacher. Things are silent for a few minutes until the teacher leaps up screaming, "That's not my belly button." Little Johnny replies, "It ain't my finger either." So once upon a time, in a rural area, there was a poor, uneducated farmer. One time, a circus came to the town. The farmer decided to visit it. After all, having spent all his life in his hometown, he had never seen such a thing. He was so excited and impressed. During the opening sequence, the ringmaster cried, "And now, before our show begins, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to the wanker." The next moment, all the spotlights were pointed at the farmer, who, needless to say, was laughed at and humiliated. Where did that come from? The farmer wondered later. In the end, he deduced that was probably a prank that the ringmaster plays at the beginning of every performance, selecting a different victim every time, nothing worth giving much thought to. However, that night, the farmer couldn't get that incident out of his head. He couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in his bed. He decided to visit the circus the next day too, just to make sure that what had happened was indeed an innocent joke. That time too, the ringmaster said, "And now, before our show begins, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to the wanker." Once more, all the spotlights were pointed at the farmer, who became a laughingstock once again. "Okay, this can't be a coincidence," he thought. "That jerk thinks he's really smart. I have to teach him a lesson. But what can I do? I'm uneducated and illiterate. I don't know how to respond to his insults." And so, the farmer determined to get an education, to become a really wise man and show that ringmaster next time. He went back to school. It took him 12 years, but he managed to finish all the grades and graduate. Next, he went to college and got his bachelor degree with flying colors. Then he proceeded to get his master degree. After that, he traveled all around the world. He studied various fields, arts, history, sciences, in the world's greatest libraries. He met important personalities, such as kings, popes, businessmen, artists, scientists, politicians. He explored spirituality in remote places where hermits lived. He even reached a point where he could levitate and move objects telepathically. And so, 30-40 years had passed since the day he met that ringmaster. Sure, he could now face him. He returned to his village. By some impossible coincidence, the day the farmer returned to his hometown, the circus was back. The farmer went to attend the performance. This time, he was ready. He knew how to respond. The show was opened by the same ringmaster, who was now old, wrinkled, white-haired, and leaning on a cane. In a croaky voice, he began his speech. "Ladies and gentlemen, today, I'm so touched to have the pleasure of welcoming to our show, once more after all these years, an old acquaintance." Give a round of applause to the wanker. With a confident expression, the farmer responded, "Takes one to know one." A lawyer calls up a plumber to come out to his house. The plumber takes a look and says, "Okay, I can fix it today, and it will be $800. The lawyer raises an eyebrow and asks, How long will it take? The plumber responds, well, I need about an hour round trip to the supply house for a part, and then it should take me about an hour for the repair. The lawyer smirks and says, 2 hours. For $800. That's $400 per hour. I'm a lawyer and my hourly rate is $350 an hour. The plumber nods and says, yes, sir, I understand. Why is it you think I gave up my law practice? A car mechanic is called to someone's place because their car won't start. He looks at it, tries to start it, then opens the hood, grabs a hammer, hits one spot, tries again, and then the car starts. This will be $150, sir, the mechanic says. What? $150 for one hammer hit? The man complains. No, the hammer hit was $30. Knowing where to hit is $120. So a doctor calls a plumber. I've got a leak, he says. There's a pool of water. It's too late, says the plumber. I'll come tomorrow. Hey, come on, says the doctor. You know me, I'm a doctor. If you get sick, even if it's late, you know I won't ignore you. Fair point, says the plumber. Okay, I'm coming now. He arrives at the house and the doctor takes him to the leak and shows him the pool of water. The plumber looks at it, then takes something out and drops it in the water. What was that? Asks the doctor. It's 2 aspirin, says the plumber, and if it's no better in the morning, call me again. A woman gets married for the 4th time. On their honeymoon night, she says to her husband, I just want you to know that I'm a virgin. I thought you should be aware of that. But you've been married 3 times before. Well, my first husband was a lovely man, but he was injured and just couldn't perform. We were together for a while, but I wanted a change. My second husband, well, it turned out that he just wasn't really attracted to women that way. I don't think we ever should have gotten married. And my third husband, he was a Democrat. Mainly he would just sit on the side of the bed and kept telling me how great it was gonna be. So Sam and Dean were the best of friends as well as 2 of the biggest baseball fans the world has ever seen. All of their lives, Sam and Dean would talk about baseball. They went to all the games they could get to. They even made a pact, as kids, that when one of them dies, the other will return to tell him if heaven has baseball games. One night, after watching a Yankee victory, Sam happily dies. A few nights later, his buddy Dean wakes up to a familiar sound. It's Sam, and he's talking to him from beyond. Sam, is that you? Asks Dean. Sure is, buddy, replies Sam. Wow, this is amazing, exclaims Dean. So, please tell me, is there baseball in heaven? Well, answers Sam, I have some good news and bad news for you. Which would you like to hear first? Give me the good news first. Okay, well, the good news is that the answer is yes, there is baseball in heaven. That's incredible. So what's the bad news, then? You're pitching tomorrow night.